Hey everyone, we are making a little video on how to program our calculator to do some of the good measurements in coordinate geometry proof. So the first thing I think I like to do is to show you guys how to input 2 points and then find the slope of the line that goes through the 2 points. All right. So if you've never done any programming before, all the programming goes through this PRGM button, which stands for, guess what? Programming. Yay. So by hitting that button, you're going to get a list of all the programs on your calculator, which in this case, since it's on the computer, there are none. You might be the same way. I can arrow over to edit a program that exists, but there isn't one, so I need to create a new one. So I select that, and you see create new is option number 1. I'm going to hit yeah, enter. It's locked into alpha mode. It's flashing with the little letter A. That means that I'm going to get the letters that are here above and to the right in green, and I'm going to call this slope. So S, and then L, and O, P, E, and then FND for slope find. And there's F, and there's N, and D. Once you've used up your maximum 8, notice the A is not flashing anymore. You can't add any more characters. You just hit enter, and now that's the program slope find. Whenever you get in trouble, you can always just quit out of it and come back in. So I'll do that. I'll quit, and then come back in, goes to program, PRGM, but then I want to edit. Okay, everything you type is saved and it's written over. So if you make a mistake, it's tough to fix. You just have to redo it. But here I am, slope find. You get the 2 little colon dots there. That tells you you've got a new line of code. I'm going to tell the user of this program what to do, and what they're going to do is they're going to enter 2 points. To do that, again, everything goes through program, so I hit that program button again. You can hit it a ton. IO stands for input output. Exec stands for execute, and the CTL stands for control. Mostly you're going to input output. In this case, I'm going to display something which are instructions. So I hit the number 3, I get display. It will display variables, it'll display numbers being computed, it'll also display things in quote marks. So if I do second and then hit that alpha button, it's going to lock it in alpha mode. If I only hit the alpha, it'll be up there in alpha mode for just one keystroke, and that gets tiresome to keep doing it over and over again. Things need to be in quotation marks. Above the plus sign is a quotation mark, and then I'm going to type in enter, so that's E, N, T, E, R. And then a space is down here above the 0, and then I'll say first point. So I could type the number 1 and then ST. To do that, I have to get out of alpha mode and then type the number 1 and then go back into alpha, S, and then T, and then a space. So I'm going to lock it back in alpha mode. This is faster. And then enter first point is PT. You can't use too many letters. P, T, and then end quotes. So it's going to display exactly what's within quotation marks. All right. Then by hitting enter, I get a new line of code. Now I need to actually input that first point. So I go over to program, I go to input output, and then the prompt gives me a little question mark next to the variables I use. I could use input, but I don't get the little helpful hint of the letter. So I'm going to hit number 2 for prompt, and then what am I going to call it? Let's call it point A comma B. The comma is above the 7, and then I'm going to do alpha and B. So my first point has the variables A and B for the X and the Y. Then I'm going to leave a line of code there to put in display enter second point. So just imagine I've done that. I'm trying to save time. And then I'll do prompt here, program, over. Again, I'm going to hit number 2 for prompt. And then I'm going to do, you guessed it, C, then comma, and then D. Each time I'm doing alpha and then the little number above. So pause and come back to this if I'm going too fast. Now I've got the 2 points entered in. So how do you find a slope? Well, I need to find the difference in the y's and put that in a fraction over the difference in the x's. So I'm going to have a parentheses, and then I'm going to do alpha b, subtract, don't use the negative sign, subtract sign, and then alpha d. That's the change in the y's. Then I'm going to close the parentheses, then I'm going to divide by the parentheses that is going to have alpha a, and then subtraction sign alpha c. Notice the keystrokes are being shown over here on the right. I should have pointed that out at the beginning, but you can always go back and pause and see what strokes I'm actually hitting there. Okay, this button down here is the store button. It gets chopped off in the next video, so you'll see it there. Store this as m, because that's our standard variable for the slope. Okay, so that's going to be a decimal. If I want to display this as a fraction, I could simply do program over, then option number 3, display m, alpha m. That'll give me the decimal. And then if I want to put it into a fraction, I can do it like this. I can do display m converted back into a fraction. So I'll take that 0.33 and make it 1/3. All right, let's quit out of this and give it a test. Second quit, and let's run the program. And so that's the execute, and I'm going to execute slope find, and if I hit enter, it's going to say enter first point. Let's pretend we're going from 1, 2, the point 1, whoa, somehow it became 11. All right, let's just cheat a little bit. Let's make that 1120. My computer's a little bit fussy. And then let's go over 2 in the x, so we'll do 13. So we're going over 2 in the x, but then let's rise just 1. That should give us a slope of 1/2. So then I'll do 21. Okay, and then let's hit enter and see, there it is. The slope is 1/2. All right, so that's basically how you program. I can put a few bells and whistles in it, but I won't use up the video time here. In program, I'd go over to edit, and then I just hit enter. And you can see in this line here, I'll say enter second point, and then down here, before I display, if I go back up and go to the very end, and then hit enter, whoops, and then I have to do second insert when I make a mistake, and then hit enter. That's a good thing to know, is that whenever you, like if I had typed that D incorrectly and I wanted to correct it and make it like the letter F, I could write on top of it. But if I needed to insert something before it, I just go to that point and then I do second delete as the insert, and then I could do alpha B, and you see it inserts the B in front of the D. All right. So there are ways to make corrections. As you make mistakes, you'll learn. And I'm going to hit delete here and get rid of that letter. And it's back to being good. But right here in this point below, I'll do display, and I'll put in quotes, the slope is, and then it'll actually display that fraction so I know what it is. Okay, there we go, folks.